All right, last week we were talking about arrays, and I'll do a little bit of review here and then a little bit of addition. So we were talking about how to create an array, and we decided that, well, there were several things that we could do. We could do a tuple, which we created in Python using parentheses. And so here I've created a tuple, and the tuple was a sequence that I could create that I can't change, it's constant. Or we can create a list, which is using the brackets, and a list then is something that is mutable or something I can change the values of or manipulate or edit more during the course of the program. I'm just going to continue on my example with the list here. And we decided that we could do several things. We can just print the sequence, in this case the list or an array, and I can just print it using the array name, and it will print out all of the list, including the brackets and the commas and everything. If I didn't want to print out if that's just a quick and easy way to see exactly what's in that array or list. The other thing I could do was I decided, where we saw that we could fit I in range. Let me just type it, and then I in range, we're going to go 0 through the length of the player scores. I have to spell it correctly. PLAYER scores. Print player parenthesis player scores of I. And so what we decided also was that we could use this length property, which returns the number of elements. The number of elements using this length property is how many elements are in that array or list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. We remember that our index, in order to access each of these elements, we start with index of 0, 1, 2, 3. And since range uses 0 up to, but not including this last value, if we put length in here, length would return 4. So the range will be, the index numbers will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we should be able to print out player scores of I, which should print out each of these individual values. And let's just see if that works. 10, 25, 15, and 50. So that's doing what was expected. That's a recap from what we did in some of the last videos. Okay, so now let's see some other things that we might be able to do. We can sort our player. Maybe we want our high score to come up first. Player scores dot sort. Let's see what happens if we do this. So I'm going to use this method, the dot sort with the parenthesis at the end, and let's just see what we'll print up from there. So it went from lower to higher. So that's not really giving me my top, well, it gives me my top scores, but maybe I want to reverse it and run it the other way. So instead of doing, I'll just comment this out, we can also reverse player scores dot reverse. And that's going to, well, let's just see. Run, and now we see that it's going to sort out our array in descending order, or highest to lowest. So that's very handy if I'm wanting to print out high scores of users or something along those lines. All right, so let's go another step further with our review. Before I do that, let me add one other thing. Let's say I made a mistake and for some reason I want to be able to delete that 50. So you also have the ability to use this word del, player scores, just parenthesis, delete player scores. And then we need to access the one we want, so we want to delete this one. So what index number is that? 0, 1, 2, 3. So, okay. So that gives us the ability to delete one of our elements if we wanted to. So now we'll delete the 50. So now when we print it out, we have, oh, what happened? We're not deleting the 50 because we reversed it first. So first the reverse was done, and then it deleted the 10. So not what I just forgot that we put the reverse. So no big deal. Anyway, I could have done reverse 1. Let's see what happens then. So then I'm taking out 50, 25, and 10 because after it was sorted, it took off the second element, which is element of 1. All right, so all good things that we can do, sorting, ascending and descending order, or deleting. So let's look at another idea. We also, let's see, let me just start from scratch here. I'm going to take these player scores, copy it. I guess I already have it. Just copy it down here so I have it together. So now let's say I'm going to take out 50. Let's say I'm wanting to keep track of player names along with the scores. Player names. And we said last time that we could create parallel arrays. In other words, let's say that this is Homer. And maybe we have Marge. And we have Bart. Okay. So what we agreed on the last week was that we can create what are called parallel arrays. And what that means is because these are in the same order of the scores, that we agree that all of the very first element is Homer's score, the second element is Marge's score, and the third element is Bart's score. And if we wanted to print that out, we could do, let's say, player names. We'll just add it here. Player names of I. So if we, let me make sure I spell that right. So now we can print out each individual's person score and name because I the first time is 0. So both of the 0 indexes are going to refer to Homer and so forth. So let's print that out and make sure that's still working. And sure enough, Homer's 10, Marge is 25, and Bart is 15. So this is a little bit of a review also from last week, but let's add a little problem onto this. Let's say that we want to print out, we want to sort it like we just saw a few minutes ago. We want to sort highest or lowest to highest. Let's just do the sort first. So the problem comes in if I do player scores dot sort. Now I'm sorting the player scores, but that's no longer going to keep my association correct with the user's names. And let's just see that happening. And so this time when we run it, now Homer's got 10, Marge has 15, but Marge had 25. That was our association, and Bart had 25. So I'm kind of stuck in a little hard place here, aren't I? Player names. I could try and sort this, but that's not going to work because that's going to sort according to alphabetized the name. So that's not going to keep that association I want. So what can be done? Well, that's where we are going to start talking about multi-dimensional arrays, which is what our next video is about.